Good evening. My name is Brian Reese. I'm Superintendent of Schools here in Plainville. Thank you for joining us tonight. We really appreciate your getting involved right at the early stages of joining public education. We are excited to have your students next year. We know you have some questions, and we wanted to get this information out to you in a format that worked for families. I want to especially appreciate the kindergarten team and Miss Graham Douglas and Miss Trzynski for putting this evening's presentation together. We saw this coming with kindergarten, but you never know how legislation is going to affect you and exactly how it works. We have the unique, wonderful situation where this district has worked really hard to maintain full pre-K for all 4-year-olds, and that helps us in some ways, but it also makes our situation a little more complicated than some districts. Again, I'm going to turn the formal part of the presentation over to the leaders who are here on Zoom with us tonight, and thank you again for participating.
So welcome all. I'm Vicki Trzynski. I'm the Director of Special Services and have been also coordinating the preschool program for the last number of years. I did want to share with you the actual language of our legislative change in Connecticut. According to Public Act 23-208, Section 1A, beginning with the 24-25 school year, children need to turn 5 years old on or before September 1st in order to be automatically eligible for kindergarten. If your child does not meet the new entry cutoff date, they may still be admitted into kindergarten upon two things. One, a written request from the parents or guardians, and two, an assessment that is completed by the school that determines admitting the child to kindergarten would be developmentally appropriate. So with all of that in mind, we do have some additional information that we wanted to share with you as you consider making this decision.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tawana Graham Douglas, and I am the Curriculum Director for Plainville Community Schools, and we would just like to welcome you all. We also wanted to take some time to give a special thank you to some of our teachers who have indicated that they would be joining us and who are on this Zoom meeting with us. We have Michaela Welsh, Alex Chimilecki, Shannon Bekeza, Lexi Herlock, Wendy Bender. I apologize. I can't see everyone, but there may be a few more individuals on who may be able to answer some of our questions later on. So we wanted to kind of start off by just kind of giving everyone an overview of what the kindergarten schedule looks like. There may be some parents who haven't had the kindergarten experience since they themselves were in kindergarten, and things have changed. So we just wanted you to know that a portion of the time is spent on academics, more academics than would have been true when most of us were in school. There was quite a bit of finger painting and, all sorts of stuff. There was more recess in the day and things of that nature. But new legislation has also indicated that expectation for play-based learning. So we have had some conversations about play-based learning and how to integrate academics into that. But we just thought that you would appreciate having some sort of idea of what a child in kindergarten, what their day actually looks like. So what we wanted to do is share a few of the readiness skills that support success in kindergarten. And they fall into a couple of categories: independence and self-help, social and emotional readiness, and academic readiness. So what we'll do is address each of those areas very briefly so that you have some sort of idea of the skills that students are expected to have and to develop when they actually are in kindergarten. So when considering independence, some of the things that you may want to think about is your child's ability to engage in self-care routines. Now, some of these questions, if you've already accessed the Sparkler app, you've probably seen some of these questions and have begun to answer them. Or at this point, you may have fully completed the ages and stages, both questionnaires. And so if you have, then these questions will be extremely familiar to you. But for those of you that have not, these are some of the things that you may want to think about because they are questions that you will encounter on the Sparkler app and the Ages and Stages questionnaire. So again, when thinking about your independence, considering your child's self-care routines, and considering things like toileting, and how they are able to get themselves dressed. Are they able to zip and unzip their clothing? Now, these are not things that are prohibitive to kindergarten. These are also some of the things that they actually learn. But since they are indicators of readiness, they're things that you may want to kind of think about, and then potentially work with your child on. But again, also recognize that these are things that students will be taught in kindergarten. The another area is your child's social readiness. So, does he or she focus attention in completing and complete activities? Do they engage in problem solving? Does your child advocate for himself or herself? And then there are some other questions that you encounter on the Sparkler app, um, things related to empathy, working cooperatively with others, and resolving conflict. And another one of the areas that you will encounter on the Sparkler app and the ages and stage in both ages and stages questionnaire is academic readiness. There's questions around literacy development and math development. Some of the questions are very basic around book handling skills. Does your child know to read left to right, top to bottom, and to turn the page? Some of those things are probably what you have practiced with them as you engage in story reading and things of that nature. Also, when writing, does your child try or attempt to write their name? Again, all of these things are not the expectations for enrollment in kindergarten, but just some things to consider when determining what your child's levels are and what they will actually be learning in kindergarten. Then in the area of math, things like, does your child know numbers? Is your child able to count? Is there one-to-one matching with objects that they are counting? Are they able to name and describe simple shapes? So what we thought would be also helpful is to share a couple of work samples of students. Now, these are not things that students have done independently. They are done with the support, but just gives you an idea of the expectations of kindergarten and just to kind of give you some way of gauging, where your child is, and the amount of growth and development that they will experience when enrolled in kindergarten. We also wanted to emphasize the fact that we have two outstanding programs. We have a wonderful preschool program that does prepare students for kindergarten, as well as a very strong kindergarten program. And when taking the time to making some decisions about whether or not you would like to submit a waiver, just consider some of the questions that we talked about, because again, you will encounter those in the Sparkler app as you are completing the Ages and Stages questionnaire. There is a document here that upon request, we'd be more than happy to share with you. It comes from the state and it kind of outlines some additional readiness skills and things that can help you in supporting your child to prepare for kindergarten. So that is the end of kind of like the kindergarten overview. And at this point, I'll pass it back to Vicky so she can kind of talk about some frequently asked questions that she has received.
Sure. Okay. So I think one of the most important questions that people have asked is, how do I actually request the waiver? So Tawana, if you wouldn't mind, actually, so before I start that, our kindergarten and preschool registration will actually begin on February 5th. That will allow us to make sure that we have everything ready to receive your child's identification and all the things that we need there. In order to actually submit the waiver, here are some details. We are hoping that you will write a letter no later than April 5th of 2024 that includes your child's name, the date of birth, your parent name, address, phone number, and why you're requesting the waiver to attend kindergarten. You can send it by mail to Dr. Graham Douglas or by email to her as well. And once we receive that, you will be sent directions to complete 2 ages and stages questionnaires. One is an overview of all of the developmental areas, and one is specific to social emotional learning for young children. And we do use the Sparkler app. You may have already used this with your child in other settings or within our school district preschool program as well. Once you've completed those questionnaires, we will have someone from the early childhood team reach out to you with the results of that to discuss the next steps and to help make that final decision for your child and your family. Some people have asked, well, my child will turn 5, but not until after September 2nd. So what are my options? Right now, there are 2 district options. The first one is to, again, as we just described, request the waiver to allow entrance into kindergarten for next year. The other one is to attend our district preschool program. It's important to know that registration for the preschool program is on a first come, first serve basis, and that if we reach capacity, we will put you on a waiting list with the hope that if a spot opens up or if there are extra spots in another one of our elementary schools, you would be allowed into that preschool program. If you are currently enrolled in our preschool program, but your child will turn 5 after September 1st, you will be allowed to continue just for this school year in our preschool program for 24-25. Those are the formal questions that we have currently. Again, that we'd like it to be an open forum. As we get more questions, we will add the questions to this document as well. So if anybody wants to turn on their microphone and ask any questions, we'd be glad to answer them.
I have a question.
Hi, Crystal, thank you.
You're welcome. If your child is like my child turns 5 September 29th, and I want her to attend kindergarten because she's in the preschool program there. And I know that there was something that went out that stated that if they go through the preschool program, they're basically going to be learning the same things and all that stuff. And I love your program, by the way. It's fantastic. Miss Walsh is awesome. But my question is, if I want her to attend kindergarten and then you guys do the assessment, and for some reason you deem her not qualified yet to start kindergarten, does she completely lose her spot then in the preschool program?
So she's already in our current preschool program, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So then she's with the waiver. You've already done the ages and stages. So if there were significant concerns, we would have had that conversation with you already.
Okay.
And that we will ask you to update it again for the fall, as we do for all of our children. And as long as, again, there's nothing significantly changed, that would be appropriate for us to grant the waiver, into kindergarten. And again, I want to repeat that I know that for parents in our current preschool program, we had, let you know that the curriculum would be the same. It is important to know that all of our curriculum is designed for multi-ages and multi-stages, so that even though it might be a similar activity or a similar topic, it would be something that is spiraled, so your child would always benefit from that activity or similar activities, just maybe working on more advanced skills, or it would be a different activity with the same topic, those kinds of things. So, we just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Okay, you're welcome. Anybody else have questions they'd like us to answer?
Hi.
Yes, hello. Hi, I have a question.
Okay,
So my
Kate, is it Kate that's speaking?
Yeah, I can
Holly-
wait. You can go ahead. It's okay.
I'm sorry. I think we connected at the
Pauline,
same time.
thank you. Pauline, go ahead.
Yes, so my son is currently enrolled at Wheeler into preschool program. So I already filled out the registration form and this the questionnaire on the Sparkler app. Do I still need to send you guys a waiver that additionally?
If you are in our preschool program and you've completed the surveys specifically sent to existing preschool families, you do not need to do anything further than that. That is considered the waiver.
Okay, sounds good. So I don't have to do anything else. And then if I did it, I did it like the same day, that Sparkler app. So if there was something wrong, I would have been contacted at this point, correct?
I would say by the end of this week, definitely, but if there was something, I probably would have known the same day. Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Vicky, there is a question in the chat.
thank you.
Yep.
I also saw, Kate, I know you were trying to speak.
Yeah, so my question was just, did we have to do anything if we wanted our child to be re-enrolled in preschool, which I think I got the answer to. But the survey, I'm not sure that I received that, so I'll have to check on that. When was that sent?
It would have been sent, it was the snow day, so we were supposed to send it out on Tuesday morning. I don't think we did. I believe it got sent out Wednesday morning, because of.
Okay, thank you.
All right, someone has their hand raised.
Myself, Ashok.
Hi.
So actually, last year I have applied for my daughter and son. My daughter got admission in class 3, grade 3, and my son was at the time just completed 4, and he not completed 5 years. His birthday is an. So do I need to reapply for this year, or the same application will be carried for here?
So one of your children is already enrolled in our preschool program? If they're already enrolled in our preschool program, and then we sent a survey to all of the families who would be, in that between September 2nd and December 31st, we sent a quick survey. As long as you've completed that survey, and then you will complete the ages and stages again this spring, you do not need to do anything further. Again, you're welcome to talk to your child's preschool teacher, who can assist as well, just to make sure that everything is all set.
Yeah, sorry, a little bit confusion. Actually, my son didn't attended any preschool program earlier.
Oh,
My
he
daughter-
he has not attended a preschool program?
No, Vicky, he didn't attend any preschool program till now. In United States, especially in other country where we have traveled from, there we have a pre-KG that was completed in a small school. But however, there is no specific preschool program was not attended in United States.
I apologize. It's just a little bit hard to hear you. Your voice is soft.
I'm sorry. Okay, he didn't attended any of his preschool program till now in United States.
Oh, so they have not participated in the United States. Okay. Whether they participated or not, again, it's really about their age, about their birth date. So based on their birth date, whether they would go into our preschool program or our kindergarten program. And so again, it was on the slides, and we'll share those slides again. But basically, if they will be 5, on or before September of 2024, then they will go to the kindergarten. If not, if between their birthday is December 2nd of 2019 to September 2nd of 2019 to September 1st of 2020. If their birthday falls in that range, then they will come to our preschool program.
His birthday is April 11th, and he will be completing 5, and he will start his 6th year.
Their birthday is September 11th,
April 11th,
April 11th of what year?
2019.
Of 2019?
Yes, 2019.
Yeah, and so if April 11th of 2019, they would enroll in the kindergarten program.
So do we need any specific communication on this, or how we can follow up on this?
Yes, it'll be on our district website. This will be there as well. But it is our central registration that you would call directly starting on February 5th. And they will start you with the process. It again is on our website, but the phone number is 860-793-6301, option 3. And they will give you all of the information you need to register.
And Vicky, I do believe that there was someone in the chat that had that same question, so therefore that's answered for them as well. And then there's the question of, do current students enrolled in pre-K have to register for another year of pre-K?
Can I just, Vicky, could you put that number in the chat? Maybe we can put that right in the chat for that phone number for central registration.
Mhm. I will drop the information in there.
Okay, and so the question was if they're doing the waiver, if you're doing the waiver, you can, and your child is in the existing program, you do not need to apply. If you've completed the waiver in the existing program, if you are newly registering, you do need to submit the waiver before April 5th. Again, if I haven't answered that question correctly, please speak up.
Yeah, so I think the question is for currently enrolled families, right? Children that are in the pre-K program now, that will not be 5 by next year. Is there any additional action steps that need to be taken by families other than the sparkler? So do you need to anything additional to that?
So if they turn 5 between September 2nd and December 31st, we've sent families a Google form specifically asking whether they would like to remain in preschool or request the waiver. So they wouldn't have to do a separate letter if you're in our existing program.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And if it's a new student that's going to turn 5 after the actual date of September 2nd, do you have to wait for the response from the district first, or can you end the testing first before you actually do the registration, correct?
You can begin the registration process with what your intention is. If you're intending to apply for the waiver, you can let our central registrar know that you're intending for your child to go to kindergarten. Then we'll do the assessment with you, through the Sparkler app. When we come back, if there's any change in the decision, we'll let central registration know. But if they're moving forward because they seem, developmentally appropriate, it's really a conversation between our staff and the families to make that final decision. It isn't just how they do on the assessment. It's really a conversation. So if there's any change based on that conversation, then we would let our central registration know to change the grade.
And then Vicky, if I can also reiterate, if it's a family that is not currently enrolled in our pre-K, there should be a written waiver either via regular mail or email.
Thank you.
So that's that in-between piece.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I had an older daughter who went through this, and there was some paperwork that was located online. So I'm confused. So we call that number that you gave, option 3. And if we're registering for preschool, that leaves us where? Like, is there forms we have to fill out? I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out.
All the forms will be sent to you, but your name will be immediately put on the list in the order that it's received, and and our central registrar will help you through the process. We'll send you the forms. Essentially, everything is online now, so we'd ask you to upload some things and to do some things, but it's primarily paperless or paper reduced anyway.
So are we doing that? What's the February 5th date then, I guess is my question.
So if your child is not in preschool now and you want them to be for the fall, that's the date we're going to start registration. So if you called today, we wouldn't be able to accept the registrations for preschool. Right now, the system's not set up to do so yet.
So we're all going to be like flooding the lines and calling on the 5th? Wow. Okay, and what time does that open? Is there like
8 a.m.
8 a.m.
Okay, so we're just gonna be like rushing to call on the 5th and then from there they get the forms and then all that stuff. So we have to wait until, I just wanna make sure I have it right. We have to wait until February 5th at 8 a.m. to register for preschool if they're not registered. And then they're gonna give us instructions from there. And then is there a fee for 24-25?
There is no fee for families continuing into 24-25.
Okay. And then how many classrooms per school is there gonna be?
It will depend honestly on the registration, which is why we're trying to get a little bit ahead of it. As it exists now, we have 8 classes total, 2 at Wheeler, 3 at Linden, and 3 at Toflon. But it really is dependent ultimately on the the number of registrations, and again, the number of families we have who choose the waiver or not the waiver. This year is a little bit unclear to us right this moment.
Okay, and what about the busing? Is that gonna be little buses, big buses? How is that gonna look?
It's as it is now. So it would be depending on the area. Right now, we use the big buses and small buses slightly interchangeably. It would be busing with all of the other students in that school.
Okay, so there's no more
Kindergartners sit in the very first few rows. And some of them are minibuses, but not exclusively. It's really about where you live in town and how long the route is versus, being in preschool or kindergarten or any of those things.
Okay, and what about bus stops? Because I know back in the day, they were picked up on little buses at their house. So what does that look like now?
It is not. They would be the bus stops. The bus stops are generated by the bus company based on what they can safely do and based on where the students live. So they sometimes do add stops, but we can't promise that it will be in front of your house, based on their age.
Okay, so basically the only thing we can do is closest to 8 a.m., call that number, option 3, and then we get on the list from there.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
What is the timing for the kindergarten?
I'm sorry, sir, one more time.
What is the timing for the kindergarten?
What does it run during the day?
Yeah.
8:30 to 3:30. It runs the same as all of our regular classrooms, pre-K through grade 5. Okay. So I see the question in the chat that is somebody's asking if they're currently in the preschool program and don't turn 5 until after the 1st, do they automatically have a spot? Yeah, and again, really this is a conversation between families and school staff. So I would suffice to say that nobody's going to be, denied based on the assessment, but I think we wanted to share that information with families so that you can make those good decisions. So if you are requested the waiver already, and you've already been in our program, you've already had some conversations with your child's teacher, you would know if there were some concerns already.
And Vicky, there is a question about resubmitting the ages and stages questionnaire. There is a family that is having difficulty doing that. Is there some way that they can override the questionnaire that they filled out a few months ago?
Amy, I see that question, and I'm sorry, I don't have a firm answer. What I understood was that the different bands on the Sparkler app at ages and stages, when they hit the next band, it would actually tell you, hey, it's time to do it again. So you might just have to wait a little bit, but I will have my staff look in the ages and stages app information to see when the next period opens up for your child.
And Vicky, we can add any of those updates to the frequently asked questions, and then just kind of, if anyone wants to kind of just come back to that document, that would be helpful.
So, right, this document will, the document that we had would have just a couple of questions based on all the great questions you've all asked tonight. We'll make sure that we add those questions to this document, and by tomorrow morning, it will be posted up on the website, so you can check back at any time.
Just one more question. I think this works the same as for any other student, but if we were requesting a specific teacher, or that a child not have a specific teacher, that goes for the preschool program, that goes to you or to the superintendent?
Typically, it would go to the building principal.
Okay, building principal.
Yep, and they would, consider any request, but again, they don't guarantee it.
Correct.
Does anyone else have other questions?
There is one last question. When will we know if our daughter has been selected for the pre-K program? She is not currently enrolled.
When you register starting on February 5th, if there is space in the program, you will know that right from our registrar. So she keeps track as she collects information from families. So if there was any concern, she would say to you, oh, we're at our capacity, but we'll put you on the wait list. And then as soon as possible, we try to work with families on that wait list, again, maybe moving to a different building or something like that. So you should know right real time when you register.
Is there an option to go down to register, or does it have to be over the phone?
Has to be over the phone. And again, our regular directions for all registration are on our website. If you go to student registration link on the main page, it does describe all the things that are required for any student registering in the district. That would include preschool and kindergarten. Today, we're really just talking about that additional piece of the waiver and what ages you would be eligible for which program. But the process for all kids coming into the district is the same.
So is there forms on there that can be filled out ahead of time, or no? It's okay. I just want to, I'm getting a little confused with that. Okay. So it's still just that phone call.
Yep, it's just a phone call, but it'll tell you what you will need. If
Okay.
that's helpful to you, the documentation that we require is included there, but you can't submit it ahead of time. You have to get a link from our registrar, which is why you have to make that call first.
Gotcha.
Hi, I have another question. Is there a preference given to families who have another child currently enrolled at Wheeler? So I have a daughter right now, she's in kindergarten. She'll be going to first grade in the fall. I have been in communication with Sue for months now, trying to make sure that we have a spot for our second daughter. So hearing all of this now is concerning.
In truth, we have our waiting list has been at sometimes 1 to 2 people, and we've offered them seats in another building and they've opted not to take it. So we really do try to incorporate every family into our preschool program that asks for it. We've worked hard to do so. And again, I would say that, with Mr. Reese, our new superintendent, we would work together with him. If we had a significant number of people on our wait list, we would have that conversation about opening more sections, or, trying to accommodate as many families as we can. I know many districts only have a small number of spots, but we designed this program specifically to include all families whose children will be kindergarten the year before they turn kindergarten eligible to participate in this program within the district. So
more importantly, how is there a preference given to the same school? Because my older daughter
always be
okay.
School first. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
For kindergarten registration, are we also calling on the 5th?
If your child is not currently attending our preschool program, registration for kindergarten would start. If they are currently in our preschool program, you do not need to register again at all.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Hi, Vicky. This is Angela Rosado.
Hi, Angela.
I received the email and did the survey. Is there any like communication that we're gonna get back that we received the survey and that like when would we be contacted about the waiver and everything like that?
So if you are in our existing preschool program, we asked for the survey to be completed by by Friday the 29th.
Okay.
And so we will send an email out to all families that says we have received your request and your child will be, participating in whichever program you had requested, pending the results of the ages and stages.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Hi, I have a question. My name is Rosa.
Hi, Rosa.
Hi, I'm just kind of concerned. I have my child. She's enrolled in preschool right now. We will be moving to Hartford. But I would love for my daughter. She has a spectrum. And she's doing so well, so great. And I did the enrollment for choice program. And I just wanted to know what are the chances of her staying. She won't need the transportation. Her grandmother works for the DATCO company. And she will be, the one bringing her. She's been doing it for a while. I mean.
Yep. I think in your specific case, Dave, do you want to talk about choice registration?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we can definitely talk offline about that with you.
Okay.
Specifically. So if you want to just give my office, I think you've talked to Tina before.
Yes.
Yep. And we'll get back to you on that and have that specific conversation with you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Oh,
Vicky, there was one more in the chat.
Oh, one more?
It says, will the waiver be an option next year for kindergarten, or is this a one-time thing?
As the legislation stands today, the waiver would be available every year. It is unclear to us. There are lots of conversations about whether the legislation will change or not. But as long as it exists as is, it will be every year. Welcome.
I don't have a question, but I just want to say I really appreciate you guys all taking the time to do this because it's helpful and informative.
Wonderful. Thank you. We really appreciate that and appreciate your participation in our program as well.
Yeah, I'd like to echo that. We've pretty fortunate to have a lot of rock stars on this call this evening, and really grateful for all the work that has been going on behind the scenes, and fortunate that several of our kids' teachers are on this call who are amazing, and Miss McKay's and Miss Welch and so many others. So thank you for all the work that you guys are doing. We're fortunate to have all 4 of our kids go through pre-K, and have been in excellent hands all throughout. And so we're really excited for another year of pre-K with our little one, but really proud of the work that all of you guys are doing. And so thank you for everything. The other families on this call are in great hands, and really appreciative of what you guys are doing in our fabulous school district.
Thank you all so much, and thanks
Thank
for
you.
participating today. I'm very, very glad to have, these over 40 people.
And Vicky, can I also say, so did acknowledge some of the folks that kind of emailed and said that they would be joining us on the call, but I also kind of noticed that Elsie Boyle, another one of our pre-K teachers, is on the call. So I want to say thank you to her. Principal Alicia Adorato is on the call. So I want to say thank you. I believe we also saw Andrew Batchelder, principal of Wheeler Elementary School. And Jeff Wallowitz, principal of Linden Street School, was on the call. And Chris Carlone, a kindergarten teacher from over at Linden Street School, was on the call. I apologize for anyone else that I may have omitted. But just as Mr. Bruce has said, there are some pretty amazing rock stars on this call. Our teachers are absolutely absolutely stellar. And I just want to thank them for all of their help and support and putting together the presentation and being very thoughtful and mindful about the concerns and the thoughts that parents may have. So I just wanted to publicly thank all of them for their help and support in getting this all together. So thank you. I was doing the talking, but I was just the mouthpiece. They did all of the heavy lifting.
Thank you guys all. You guys are awesome.
All right, if anybody has questions, feel free to connect with our registration, or, if you call any one of our, touch points at the buildings, whatever, we're glad to answer any questions that you have and incorporate all of this information into our presentation that'll be on our website. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Have a good
Thank you
night.
all. Have a good night.
Good night. Thanks.